Um, for those of you who want to see what I was at 5 years old, top left wearing the dark shirt is me. And if you go directly below me and to the left on the edge of the page there, that's Al Brown. I'll zoom in. There's Al on the far left, and then there's me right above him. So lovely, lovely to see you again, Al, during all these years. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Uh, I'm sure I've told this story before, but I had a student when I was teaching math, right? I taught after I left organized religion, I started teaching math. And I taught math for a number of years, and I loved doing it. It was great fun. I had a student teacher uh, my second to last year or my last year. I can't remember which one it was. And my student teacher's supervisor sent him in with well, you have to write out the curriculum for the first 6 weeks. And I said, I don't have a curriculum for the first 6 weeks. I don't have it written out exactly how the first 6 weeks are going to go. And the supervisor called me and was quite indignant and adamant of, what do you mean you don't have the curriculum for 6 weeks? You're supposed to be this kid in the school's master teacher, and you have to have. And I said, how could I possibly have the curriculum laid out for the first 6 weeks when I've not met the students yet? I don't know how long it's going to take to do. I think absolute values was our first topic. I don't know how long it's going to take to do absolute values because I've not met them before. And that's part of the beginning part of this gathering that we have going on right now. And let me say good morning to all of you and put everyone, guide your eyes. I'm going to do the screen where we can see everyone, because there are people who are joining us on Facebook and people are joining us on YouTube. Give them a wave. Hello, everybody. And I can't, well, it's not true. I could put the entire service together ahead of time, and I could structure exactly what we're going to talk about, but that wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be right, because I don't know who's here in the room. I mean, obviously, I can see your names. I can say good morning, Gord. Good morning, Candace. Good morning, Kip. Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Ray. Hey, Jess and Rita and Charlene and Bruce and Al and everyone else. I'm going to move away from this screen view. If I didn't get to your name directly, I apologize. You're still a very important person. But before we I have topics. I have topics ready for us to talk about. But before we do that, and I want to review last week, let me just do a quick look at the screen. How's the people's doing today? And if any of the people's feels like commenting and giving a little verbal as to how you are, how are you doing today? I got a little bit. Thank you, Michael, giving me a little visual of a little metza in between.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little bit all right. Lee, thank you for your gesturing. Charlene, you're giving me so I hate to ask, but not doing too well. Anything you care to share about? You don't have to, of course. Well, hold on one second. I'm glad that other one's going good. Charlene, it looks like you're moving for unmute, or you're.
I've been a little bit down lately.
Thank,
I don't know why.
thank you
For
for.
no reason.
Yeah. Might be winter. Charlene, go ahead, my friend.
My brother has diagnosed with glioblastoma.
Tell us what that means. I don't know what that means.
That's an aggressive terminal brain cancer.
Oh, Charlene.
What killed John McCain, and yeah, not a good year. My mom.
Thank you for sharing with us, Charlene. Wow, what a thing. How can we be of support to you? Is there anything you can think of, any of us or us as a group can be of help?
Just by being here and being accepting.
Accepting of you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oops, the dog's going.
It's all right.
What's his first name, Charlene? I'll put him in my Dropbox.
His name is Derek.
We'll add Derek into our prayers, and if you keep an extracurricular prayer list off of the group prayer list, if you add Derek in, that'd be wonderful. Anyone else? What else? Yeah, Carol, talk to us.
My oldest friends from high school saw her doctor yesterday who told her to go into hospice.
Oh.
She was totally unprepared for that. And she's been part of a trial at Memorial Sloan Kettering. And she couldn't continue the trial because she couldn't swallow the pills.
Uh-huh.
When they took her off the trial, she is not going to be given any more medical care. And she said, I feel like I've been thrown out of my house.
Yeah.
Because I've been going there 3 or 4 times a week, and suddenly I'm not supposed to go there anymore.
Oh, and what a diagnosis to get. Thank you for sharing it, Carol. Ron.
I went and
Oh, wait,
saw
hold on one second, Ron. Hold on one second. Carol, what is your friend's name so we can add? Linda, thank you. I don't know that it makes a difference that we have a name, but I do feel a difference, so thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
I went and visited my friend Carol yesterday, who is now living. She's now about 4 weeks past when she should be dead. She's in the hospice. She's has lung cancer and 2 other forms of cancer, but she finds that she's missing conversation and lonely because her husband has become a trumper, and she doesn't have anyone to talk to, and she feels like people are afraid that she might be contagious or something, and but she is an accomplished artist. I've had a show with her, and she shared some poems with me. I'm going to share the poetry.
Thank you, Ron. Would you tell us your friend's name?
Carol Good Hansen.
There's a lot going on, isn't there, folks?
It's so awful when you don't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, loneliness is really a powerful.
Yeah.
Anyone else got a thing that they would like to share? A season of open shares at the beginning here.
We finally recovered from being gone 6 weeks. This is the first weekend with not much to do.
Well, welcome back, Harold and Connie. Yeah. Okay, folks. Thank you all for sharing. For that's what makes this a community, right? Is that people share. It's not. There's not much of a community at a rock concert in the audience. Everyone's there for one thing. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, my partner's in a tremendous amount of pain. She's going through some rehab for surgery in her hips. And I'm having a tough time dealing with it.
Yeah, you and she both. Would you tell us your partner's name, Jack?
Margie. Margie K.
Well, I add Margie to our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
What, folks who didn't share, what's it do for you to hear the suffering of others? Brings you down? No?
Helps me open my heart.
Helps you open your heart up.
Reality of the system.
Rabbi Alex had her hand up, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just have a really miraculous story that I'd like to share because it's just so amazing. I think most of you have heard the long and sad story about some of the things that happened with my mother when she passed. And one of the things that happened was she gave away a lot of family heirlooms that I really wanted, including a set of flatware. And it turns out that Scott's grandmother, my husband, when he was 9 years old, set aside a set of flatware for him that he didn't really know about. This last weekend, he went back to visit his mom, and his mom gave him all her fancy china because we've been married almost a year, and she's not using it. There was a safe in her possession that she'd lost the combination to. He helped take it to the locksmith, so they drilled it, and inside was not just one or two nice pieces, but an entire set of sterling silver flatware that she had set aside for Scott and for his future wife,
Which
me.
is you.
Wow. How great.
Oh.
That's nice, and that's beautiful.
So this woman that I never met, because she died long before Scott and I were, he was in his 20s. And the fact that his grandmother put together this absolutely beautiful wedding gift for a person she didn't even know existed is just
Wow.
really tremendous.
Thank you for sharing that, Alex.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Folks, I
Wonderful.
want us to do switch tracks a little bit, and I want to do a little bit of review of two things that we talked about last week. One, last week I was so proud of myself. There was something that happened in my and I said to you guys, I said, look, you can all read me. You can tell there's something going on in my life, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's not public information. And I set that boundary cleanly with the group. I thought cleanly with the group about setting a boundary and saying this is the limit to which something's allowed. And boundary maintenance is such a difficult thing for so many of us. So I wanted to bring that out. And the Prentice, there's a quote, Prentice Hemphill. Alex, I didn't put that quote in the list of quotes for today. I apologize. And the quote was, boundaries are the space at which I can love myself and love you simultaneously. I'm going to say that again because I don't have it written out. If somebody could look at it and put it into the chat. Boundaries are the space at which I can love myself and you simultaneously. Especially holiday seasons, it's hard to set boundaries. And Janie taught me something. Just here's an interesting fact. When you set boundaries with a person, 9 out of 10 times they're going to test it.
Yep.
And so what's great about knowing that is don't be surprised. Like when you're setting the boundary, take the extra time to go, oh, they're probably going to break this boundary, and me being pissed off and upset about it is not probably, that's not my best strategy. All right, so that was one thing I wanted to review from last week was on boundaries. The second was we talked about evil last week, and there was a quote, 2 quotes that I found. One said this, never attribute to I can't say that word. Malevolence. Never attribute to
Malevolence.
Never attribute to malevolence. I got it. Okay. Never attribute to malevolence what is merely due to incompetence.
Right.
Maybe they weren't trying to be assholes. Maybe they're just stupid. Wouldn't you? Right? Never attribute to
Malevolence.
Never attribute to malevolence what is merely due to incompetence. And then here was a second quote that I think hit a piece of this is gendered language in this quote, and I apologize for it, but that's how Linda Pastan wrote it. It said, evil is simply a grammatical error, a failure to leap the precipice between he and I. Evil is simply a grammatical error, a failure to leap the precipice between he and I.
Oh yeah, I see. The V looks like between the letter E and your I or something.
Okay, I was going with more. The more we think, so the expansion on this one is Melanie Klein, famous psychologist. She talked about splitting, and splitting is this idea that I'm going to hold on to the good for me, and I'm going to say all the problems are because of what they did. They are the problem. I'm good, they're bad. And the more stressed we are, the more likely we are to engage in this idea of splitting between what's us and what's them, what's good and what's bad. And the more stressed we are, the less able we are to hold on to the both and. So this idea of splitting, in splitting between I and them, and that's her quote. I'll bring it back up again. Evil is simply a grammatical error, a failure to leap between them and I. Okay, there's our review from last week, and then I'm going to bring us into this week, and I'm going to tell you a story. Everyone comfy?
Yeah.
And there's a picture that goes along with it. This section is called "You Aren't Attractive Enough for Amanda." It's called "You Are Not Attractive Enough for Amanda." There's a picture of Amanda, and you will hear the story of how this happens. It is the late 1990s. My friend Cohen, who's actually shown in that picture right next to Al Brown, right below me in first grade. So I've known Cohen for a very long time. It's 1990 something, late 1990s. And Cohen is in his purple GTO convertible down in Greenwich Village. And this car is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is attracting the stares and the looks of bystanders. Cohen moves somewhere in the village, and he sees a woman, and she starts chatting with him, convertible car that he's in, and says, "Hey, aren't you the same guy who was around the corner about 15 minutes ago?" "Oh, that was my twin," Cohen says. "I'm far more handsome than that schmuck." He and Amanda get to talking. It becomes known that she has never had a falafel sandwich, pita falafel sandwich. So he insists on taking her in the purple GTO, and they go to the Olive Tree restaurant on McDougal Street. They have a spontaneous first date, and she finds out that he has never had Indian food. And then they make plans to change that sometime soon. Amanda gives Cohen her number. They part ways. He says he'll call. He waits a day because apparently there are rules to how you're supposed to make phone calls after someone gives you a number. So he waits a day and he leaves a message. There's the days before email, before the internet. So this is the best way of communicating. He leaves a message on her phone. She does not return the call. He decides not to call a second time because that's not the rules. And he waits 2 more days and leaves another message, and she doesn't call back. Cohen, telling me this story, says, "I figure she probably didn't call me back because," and I stop and I say, "Let me guess." He says, "You can guess, but I always figured it was she really didn't think I was good enough. Maybe I thought there was more of a connection than there was." I say to Cohen, "Well, perhaps she had a boyfriend and she just liked flirting and she never really intended to go out with you." Cohen continues thinking with me, and he says, "That's possible, but that's possible, but I think it was because I wasn't good enough for her." I say, "Well, maybe you were too good for her. Maybe it was the opposite. She didn't think she was good enough for you." He says, "You have no proof of that." I said, I have no proof of what I'm saying, nor do you have any proof as to what you're saying. We don't know why she didn't call you back. So I want to try an experiment here, and I want to see if we can't, as a group, come up with 5 reasons that haven't been come up with before. Why didn't Amanda call David? Why didn't Amanda call Cohen back?
That's sick.
She got sick. Perfect answer. Never occurred to me. David, for years, right? This was years ago, has been holding on to the fact that it was because he wasn't good enough for her. But it could have been possibly she got sick. Give me another explanation.
He got the wrong number.
Yeah.
He got the wrong number. She gave him the wrong number is also a possibility.
Misread a 4 for a 9.
He misread a 4 for a 9. She gave him the right number. He just can't read. It's possible. Or he made a mistake.
Shares the phone with other people and someone else erased the messages.
I love that. Thanks, Eileen. Somebody else came up. Somebody else erased the message. Give me another explanation.
She had a family emergency.
She had a family emergency. Do you all see how well you're doing at making up other reasons for something to have happened?
Mm-hmm.
By a show of hands, how many of you have an inkling where I'm going? Keep your hands up if you're a little worried about us going there. Where am I going? How many things are there in your head that you know why they happened? You know that happened because you weren't good enough. You know that didn't happen because they didn't like you. You know that didn't happen because you brought this kind of cookie to the party and it was the wrong kind of cookie. I don't know. What are the chances that there was another reason?
Lots of chances.
Lots of chances.
Her parents wouldn't accept him.
Her parents wouldn't have accepted him. That's another explanation why she didn't call him back. Why not? Let's go into our own lives. There are 2 ways I can see that this goes. One, we come up with explanations as to why something happened to us. And the other is we come up with explanations as to why someone else did something that they did. Maybe those are the same thing. Maybe they're not. In my head, they were separate.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a situation you're thinking of is there a situation you can think of right now where you know what somebody else was doing? And just this little story of Cohen and Amanda makes you think, maybe there is another explanation. Oh, I'm not feeling like I led this in very well. I could use a little bit of help here.
Amanda's the only person who knows the reason.
Amanda might be the only one who, except if she didn't get the message. She might be wondering, why didn't he call? Well, it was obvious because I wasn't good enough. Go ahead, Michael. Help me out.
It's really hard to accept not knowing. It's really hard to, we have to, it's like we have to invent a reason.
Yes.
If we don't know, you can't just leave it. Learning how to leave it might be the trick.
Yeah, we dislike uncertainty so much that we fill in with a certainty even if the certainty isn't in our own favor.
We make shit up to make it feel better for us, right? Or to help us understand.
Yeah. Go ahead, Al. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I just want to build on what Michael was saying. To me, living in uncertainty is a kind of an art.
Oh, that's nice.
If you can live in uncertainty, there's a beauty to the world that you miss otherwise.
Yes. Amen.
Say that again, Michael. That living uncertainty is an art. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said, Emily.
I just get on with it.
Go ahead, Ron. Thank you, Al.
I would say that humans have, in general, a real desperate need not to have uncertainty. And that accounts for a whole lot of conspiracy theories. That accounts for a whole lot of fundamentalist religion. That accounts for a whole lot of stuff.
I agree with you, Ron. I want to go from the things that are out there to the things that are right within me. So I don't want uncertainty. I know when Emmett leaves his room and he doesn't turn off the light, I know he's doing it because he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about, but that's not true. He just simply didn't see that the light was on when he left the room and didn't that's not it. It's not spiteful. It's not anything. I make up the story as to why he didn't turn off the light. He didn't turn off the light because he didn't turn off the light. But it's not a moral issue. I make it a moral issue. I came up with the reason why he didn't do it. That's not fair. Bob?
Yeah, the problem with coming up with reasons why something else didn't happen to somebody else is that it usually leads us to doing things or taking actions that are built on wrong information.
Right. And what a problem it is. We start building up on wrong information because we know this is why it happened. Emmett doesn't care about the electric bill. It might be, but I'm making that up. And then I'm adding, worse than that is I keep finding more facts to support my wrong belief.
Then it turns into revenge.
Then it can turn into... Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Maria, for telling me.
So I'm, in my mind, I'm tying together what you were talking about evil. Obviously, this is, you know, a continuation of that conversation. And I'm thinking about when someone does something really horrifying, that as a group of people, we all know is really horrifying, and you have to decide in yourself whether that person is evil for doing this incredibly, you know, raping children, horrifying thing, whether they're evil or whether you don't understand what's happened that has brought that kind of horror into their lives, and you don't understand why it's in your life, and to live in that level of uncertainty. It's like,
right,
it's
well,
because you cannot know, you don't get to know why they got that broken, that is something that they would do.
And then can you bring it back to splitting them off from being separate from us?
Because that, if and that, well, that comes back to the stress. You know, if you're the person that they've wounded, if you're the person that has gotten injured by that, you're under an untenable amount of stress, and so of course there are them.
Right.
You know, of course you don't want anything to do with that, being like that person.
Correct.
That's like what I remember when I was a small child. But we're not going to talk about the people that hurt me because I don't want to. But
boundaries. Boundaries are good. Boundaries are good.
But when I was a little kid, I remember finding out about the Holocaust. I'm not Jewish, so this wasn't something that was in my house that people talked about. But I was at school and I found out that it happened, and everybody was calling the Nazis monsters. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, oh no, it's much worse. They're not monsters. They're people.
Yeah.
Which means any one of us could have ended up being that horrible somehow. And
absolutely. That is chilling, Robin. It is truly chilling to realize that if we had grown up in the household that Donald Trump grew up in,
Yeah.
we might wind up exactly the same kind of trading card selling monster.
And you have no idea. And
Right.
you can't know. And so that makes a space
Tell it.
for connection.
Let me tell a quick story. Some of you are familiar with the Milgram experiment. You might have seen it. It was where they did a learner. It was a test, and they checked to see if somebody gave electric shocks to someone pretending to learn, and how far up would someone go if someone in a white coat with a clipboard told them to do it. Would they do it? And the backstory to the Milgram experiment was that Milgram came up, and I remember this, and so if this is not correct, please forgive me. This is old information. I didn't look it up for today to verify it. But as I remember it, Milgram's experiment was developed in the United States, and he developed it to bring to Germany to find out what the heck was wrong with the Germans that they would follow orders. And as I remember it, he did the test experiments in New Haven and found out that there was absolutely no reason to leave the continent to find out what was wrong with them, because the problem was with us. The problem was with each of us. It's just upsetting. Carol, you got something. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, I have a problem here.
Good.
I believe that there is no one in this room or in any room we go into who doesn't have a backstory.
Correct.
That doesn't mean we don't have responsibility for what we do when we go beyond that. And so, yes, I can understand that Trump was not loved properly.
Right.
That does not mean he's not responsible for what he's doing right now.
I agree with you, Carol. I have to agree with you.
Of course he's responsible, but that doesn't mean you understand how he ended up where he is and why he hasn't figured out how to not be that way. Agreed. I mean, we're all responsible for our actions all the time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you know why they're doing what they're doing.
I'm gonna pause us for a moment. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Carol. And I want to break us out into small groups. And I want us to, Alex, are you? I lost where you are on my screen. Alex, are you able to move us into small groups? We're going to do small groups of 5 people for 6 minutes, and the prompt is, I think I thought wrong.
Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby.
Jess, I'm going to mute you. We had a little extra marble and dog on the screen for a second. The topic is, I thought wrong. Of kind of in my friend Cohen's universe of, I thought it was because I wasn't attractive enough. I was so certain that it was this, but you know what? It might have been something larger than this. It could have been something else. Maybe I was mistaken. So we'll go into groups of 5 people for 6 minutes. As always, the group time is completely perfect for your use. Everyone should enjoy every person who's in their group. These have been specially designed to be the perfect groups for you. And if it doesn't work exactly to your liking, this group, please email me an angry email to let me know how I messed up, either in the time or who is in your group. Please do let me know. I take those comments and I read them. So Alex, do we have groups?
I'm sorry.
I'm not saying
Open
up the rooms and let's see what happens. The topic is, I thought wrong, or maybe I thought wrong, or maybe I don't have to hold on to this explanation for things that I always thought was the case. Maybe, eureka, I can be freed of this story I've been telling myself. Alex, are we at the ready? There we are.
Open.
Rooms are open. If you're on a phone, you will have been automatically moved. Otherwise, we'll see you in 6 minutes' time. And if you are not moving, you are here with me. There go the peoples.
looks like everyone is safely ensconced in their room.
And we have more than 2 people per room?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Jess, did you get the new puppy? Was that who was kissing you? Oh, I don't think Jess can hear me. That's all right. Lee and Sari and Ezra, hi. And Jess, any comments and thoughts? And I got 2, Candace and Kim, and everyone is. You don't have to share anything. This is not it is only if you have something that you want to share or not, and that's all fine. We'll just sit here. Alex, I'm going to take advantage and bop back into group 2 because that's where I was supposed to go to. Oh, it looks like they got 5 people.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
I can't hear you, but can you hear? Oh yeah, I've got green on the microphone.
We hear you. Who is this who's talking?
It's Candace.
Oh, I see. Your lips and your sound are coming out at different speeds. Not sure if you can hear, Candace.
No, I have no audio at all.
Just a reminder that this is one of the highest shopping dates of the year. So network-wise, it's going to be very busy.
Thank you.
Yep. I didn't say that, dude. Close, but you know. No. Internet blows chunks today. There you go. Put that in. Why, thank you. You forgot the glasses. Oh my God, I look possessed.
I feel better about that now, Lee.
I started knitting yarmulkes for Fran.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it keeps my hands busy outside of work.
Yeah. That's how I got into it myself.
I donated over 2 dozen hats to it's a local shelter called Out of the Cold. I donated more than 2 dozen hats there. So
is the one that you're wearing one of yours?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A couple hours.
Very nice. Yeah. This is one of mine.
That's lovely. But you crochet?
I do, and it is very, very mature of me to still talk to people who knit. I think it's just a.
I can't make myself do it. I don't know what it is.
To knit? To crochet?
No.
Yeah.
But I have done a couple of sweaters where I've done a single around the edge.
Yeah.
Make it pretty. But I don't know. My brain just isn't wired right now for crocheting.
I did the same thing with knitting. I knew how to crochet, and I thought knitting's so much cooler. So I took a class on knitting, and I thought, what am I doing? I like crocheting. Why am I hurting myself and learning a second way of doing this? I don't have any need. So I stopped.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alex, you give them the 1 minute warnings?
Yeah, we got 20 seconds, but I can go ahead.
Oh, I know. I hit my clock. My clock's off, so whatever you got.
7, 6, 4, 3, 2. I'm just recalling my name.
There we go. Well, I don't have time to get to the topic I prepared for today. Oh, hi, Marcella.
Hello.
Glad to see you.
Oscar's here too.
Oh, hey, Oscar. We're just leaving a small group, so people are just coming back to the main room.
Turn off the camera. Huh?
I can hear again. Hallelujah.
You got it.
Yay.
Oh, good, 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 good.
That reboot trick works pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I haven't had to reboot this thing previously, but oh well. That captioning was a bit hard to follow.
Well, here's everyone coming back. Well, welcome back, people. I don't know where you were when you were there. Is there something that you said in your small group or something that you can share anonymously enough that we don't implicate anybody? Is there some deep thinking, something that was an aha that came out of your group that would be a thing you'd want to share? Okay,
Well,
let me
for
start.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Well, for me, it was in growing up in life, I realized that I had to let people be who they are, and I had to get on with my life.
And it's true enough. Thank you, Jack. True enough. What else came out of your small group discussions?
We spent the entire time, mostly, I think, talking to Ezra from Uganda, which was just exciting for me.
Okay. Wonderful. Ezra, congratulations. You're exciting. Good. Other things that came out of your small groups? There are moments, I will tell you guys all, where I think, God, a responsive reading and singing Psalm 129 would be so damn easy right now.
I bet.
Oh, Lordy, now I've got to go look that up.
Psalm 129. Yeah.
What psalm is it? 139 or 129?
129, you heretic. 129.
129. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Emily, 129.
Yeah. I think we're
Something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something that came out of our group, although it wasn't highlighted, but politics is a big unknown, and it's sometimes easy and maybe accurate to point to politics as the reason for any type of
And I think we also do that with politicians, is we think, well, they're doing this because they blankety blank blank. And we say it with such conviction as though we know. And that's like Amanda with the message. We don't know why somebody really did the thing they did. But boy, do we like to simplify it down so that aren't we smart? Thank you for.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in the same group, and what I got out of the politics discussion was that it's easy to blame the difference in politics for any distance you feel with somebody else. Or if somebody else seems angry with you, oh, they're mad because I voted for so and so.
Right.
Whereas it may or may not have anything to do.
That's exactly right.
That's like the spoon thing.
Yeah, that's like the spoon thing. Let's do a little review on the spoon thing. The spoon thing is Irving Becker. Irving Berlin's a different guy. If you dislike someone, the way they hold their spoon will upset you. But if you like someone, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind. If you've already decided you don't like someone, everything they do is going to be annoying. Oh, they're a Democrat. They hold their spoon like idiots. Oh, they're on my team. I forgive them. Yeah, that's a powerful one, Betsy. When we've decided if we like someone or not, everything else follows. Oh, wait a moment. Folks, I just had a eureka moment. And then, Kip, I'm going to get to you. If you dislike someone, the way they hold their spoon will upset you. But if you like them, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind. We've all heard this. We've heard this a number of times. I never thought of it this way. What happens if I do this on the inside? And I start looking at myself, because there are times where I beat myself up and everything I do is, what the hell's wrong with you, Brian? Why are you doing that? And it's not so easy to get that internal look and go, oh, I'm doing the best I can with everything that I have, and I like myself good enough not to be so upset.
It's not so bad to be clumsy.
Right? Thank you. Kip, you had your hand up. I wanted to get back to you.
Well, I don't want to take away from that last teaching.
Okay, so let's take this one. We'll put it on the side.
Come back to me in a minute or two.
Okay.
Are you transitioning?
I don't know. I've never had this thought before.
I think it's a great thought. I like it. I'd love to make sure you have room for comment on this before I go back to the other thing.
Okay. Comment on this.
I'll be your slave reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, give yourself the grace that you would give someone you love.
Right? Hey, I got a homework assignment based on what Robin just said.
We have to pay attention all the time to ourselves.
Thanks, Robin.
Right. And it said that
teacher's pet.
There's a thing that Afia said. Yes. Which wolf you feed. There's a thing that Afia said to me once. She overheard me talking, and I did something. I can't remember what I was doing, but I made just a gaffe, a ridiculous gaffe, and I said, oh, come on now, Brian. You can do better than that. And I was berating myself, and Afia said, hey, maybe you want to try it this way and instead say something in your head like, hey, say there, friend. Hey, friend, maybe you could have done that a little bit differently. But just saying it in this sweeter way as opposed to what the heck's wrong with me, and catching myself when I'm doing that and say, well, Afia would laugh at me and say, friend, maybe you can be a little kinder. Al, yeah.
Yeah, it occurs to me that the parts of ourselves that we dislike, we have a lot less patience with. Mm-hmm. And the parts of ourselves that we like, well, we don't see the problems, and so maybe that's part of it. But, yeah, we're much more forgiving.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Al. Any other comments on this? And I want to know, Kip, not too much pressure on you, buddy, but I want to know what.
No, I want to go back to that. If we're done, this is a good topic, but I really wanted to double down about uncertainty.
Yeah, do it.
Suggest that we need to be willing to be uncertain about other people's certainty.
Oh, wait, whoa. We need to be less certain about other people's uncertainty?
About their certainty. So we have beloved people in this group that have a different understanding of evil than I have, and it's part of their worldview that evil is a very real thing that absolutely resides in people's hearts.
Uh-huh. And
I don't know. Maybe they're right. I don't know.
So give me the two words again. Give me a sentence that has both certainty and uncertainty the way you first said it, so I can.
Well, I wanted to double down on uncertainty, even when it comes to other people's certainty.
Say that again.
That
Kip.
I should be able, let me see if I can say it, Kip, and correct me if I got it wrong. That I need to be less certain about the things that they are certain about.
I need to be less certain that they're wrong.
My uncertainty.
Yeah. If I'm going to subscribe to this belief and uncertainty that's so important, I want to make sure I don't project that. Yeah. Hey, why aren't you more uncertain? How can you be so certain about this? Well, my uncertainty requires me to give them space to be certain.
Even if it's exactly opposite of what you were thinking.
Yeah, how do I know? Maybe they're absolutely right and I'm completely wrong, and they're absolutely certain this is the way things are. If I'm going to subscribe to my uncertainty principle that this is the best way for me to live, I have to give them space to be certain because maybe they are right. And whatever it is.
Yeah, let's try that. Can we all try that for a second, just within your own being? Think about that thing that you are so sure that they are wrong about. That person, you know the one I'm thinking about. That person in your mind, you are so certain that they are just dang on it mistaken. Can you open up a little bit of a space? And what happens when you do? When you open up a little bit of a space inside yourself that, you know what? Maybe I'm the one who needs to back down. Maybe actually I'm not right. What happens in you when you do that?
There's got to be a difference between right and wrong. And what's being said there to me is that if they're wrong, I've got to give them kind of space to be wrong, but it's not right.
But it's not that they don't, they're not necessarily right, and I'm not necessarily right. I'm missing something you were saying.
Well, there are people who do wrong.
Correct.
I look at it and say that is wrong. That's my certainty.
Correct. I'm certain that they are wrong. And then are you, thank you, Connie. And then are you willing to say possibly it's the exact opposite? Maybe.
On some things, no.
On some things, no. Okay.
I wanted to clarify one thing because it's a little slippery. I'm not at all talking about actions and things that we know all are just not okay. I'm really talking more about beliefs and closely held understandings. I would never suggest that I need to be uncertain whether or not horrific crimes.
Right.
That's not what I meant.
We're not talking about killing puppy dogs or anything worse than that.
But did that person do it because they're just a horrible monster who should be thrown off the planet? Well, I don't know. I don't know why they did it.
It's hard.
What led them to do that.
And it's it's so much more easy. That's bad language, but it's so much more comfortable to be certain and to know that they are the problem and they are wrong. And I think that's what we're really getting at here. Ellis, you have. Thank you, Connie.
Where does the concept of God fit in with evil?
Slow down there, Jack. I don't have time for that one. Maybe
well, the way that I've learned to deal with a lot of that is so let's just say, like your illustration earlier, good and bad. I look at it as an infinite continuum. In our brains, good and bad are, we think they're opposites. They're exactly the same thing over a really long continuum that what I might think is good, somebody else.
Yeah, it starts right. It gets very confusing.
Yeah, it does. But the more I understand that concept, the easier it is for me to understand another person's way of being that I don't agree with. Therefore, I can accept them because they're somewhere on that same continuum I'm on.
Right.
We just see it differently.
Boy, we have so many comments and thoughts that I'm unfortunate. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I still want to get to our prayer time, and I also want to hear from Marcella and Bob and everybody who has their hand up, but. I'm going to make the decision as the guy who has a hat and the keys to the Zoom room that I'm going to transition us for a moment, because we started this hour with talking about a lot of pain and a lot of troubles that we have on our hearts. And I want to, it's always lovely to be up in my head and to be thinking, but I want us to drop into our hearts for a moment. This is a really hard time for a lot of people. This time of year brings up a lot of hurts. It's also, for most of us here, it's winter time, which is a really difficult time just on our bodies. So let's turn our thoughts for a moment towards some prayer time. Somebody have our list of prayers? Joe, you got them. There you are. Thank you for putting your hand up. I got you lost.
And now I'm calling. The prayer list this morning includes Carol Good Hansen, Marcus, Derek, Meg, Ashley, Mio Nala, Alice, Allison, Umba, Ken, Harris, Joe, Maddie, Linda, Mercedes, Moran and family, Morgan Harris and family, Rebecca Contois and family, Buffalo Woman, another Linda, Margie, Alicia, Armand, April, and April's family members, Stephen, Paul, Joanne, Aunt Emma, and all those grieving, Rob, and Maddie, and Paris, and I think I got all the names that were mentioned.
Thank you, Joe. So let's take a minute of time and really just sit in our hearts, and we'll do that right here at the minute mark. Well, thank you, everyone. I have a few announcements to make. They're the same usual announcements that I have. One, it's okay to not be okay. Folks, seriously, there's a reason I keep saying this. Life is hard. Let's not pretend otherwise. It's okay when you're having a hard time. I know it's no fun, but it's okay. Two, that person you've not seen on this Zoom gathering for a while, if there's someone and you think, I haven't seen that person for a while, you have contact information for them, maybe reach out to them, say hi. And last announcement, Alex, if you would put James's address in the chat. James has a birthday coming up in a few days. If you have it in you to write this address on a postcard or on an envelope, and then if you put a letter in the envelope, that's even better. But just send James anything. Happy birthday. He's I just got a letter from him again. Did I tell you about the clothes that the COs stole back from him? So the correction officers, James buys clothes, extra clothes, to be able to give to people who he mentors. And one of them just got on parole, which is very exciting. And he gave a bag back to James, left it in the room for James to take to give to other people. And as soon as the guy left, the corrections officers took that bag away and explained to James, well, he didn't ask for our permission to leave it there, which technically is a rule. And he said, I didn't even give them any attitude. I just said, okay, and went back to mentoring the person I'm mentoring. Because he knows that hitting hatred with hatred doesn't work. And I think if a man who's in corrections facility can figure that out, it really makes it, underscores it for all of us, that we all have to figure out how to not buy into the hatred, not to buy into hate. So please, if you would, send my buddy James, our buddy James, a note for his birthday. Here, wait.
What is the date of his birthday?
It's the 20th.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd do a little Mr. Rogers moment and seal my newest envelope and send that on off to him this week.
Well, that's a way to cut your tongue. You gotta do it.
Next week's topic is going to be envelope sealing.
Nice.
If you're here next week, fantastic. It is Christmas Eve. I had wanted, well, I usually don't tell you what we're going to be talking about, but I had wanted to, I decided it was Christmas Eve. I thought we'd talk a little bit about the Jesus thing. I know that that's been triggering for a lot of people are triggered by it, but I thought maybe we could look at some of the lessons that Jesus taught without getting into any ideas of
Christianity.
Yeah, but just talk about, this was an amazing teacher who walked on this earth, and there are a lot of things ascribed to that teacher. The same way that I'm okay looking at Buddhism, let's take a look at Christianity next week a little bit. Thank you guys. It was a beautiful thing. I'm going to stop the recording on, oh no. Wait, hold on. There we go. Say goodbye to all the people who are watching on Facebook and tell them they should join us, or you don't should. If you want, show up, join us.